so you want to venture into the Dark Zone. Well, there's a lot of good reasons to go there. Weekly assignments have a portion that needs to be completed in the Dark Zone. It's currently, and has always been, the area in the game with the best gear drop rates, due to the high concentration of named NPCs and chests around, and this includes classified gear. It's the best place to farm division tech. Even with the updates coming out soon, outside of the Dark Zone you can really only get div tech through the daily and weekly missions, and through dismantling gear. The Dark Zone also offers a good change to running the same missions over and over. Of course, there's one thing that hinders the happy farmer from effortlessly running through the Dark Zone, taking advantage of all of these perks. Rogues. This is a beginner's guide for farming the Dark Zone solo, but this can also be applied to a group. I won't be talking about PvP in this video, just what you can do to get the most out of the Dark Zone while avoiding other players as much as possible. Before diving in, one of the biggest things you need to get your head around is that whatever drops, whatever you find in the Dark Zone that needs to be placed into your contamination bag, isn't yours until you manage to extract it. Until it's safely attached and flying into the distance underneath a helicopter, anyone has the chance to be able to take it from you. Once you understand this, you'll have a better time. Trust no one. Treat every player as if they're about to turn on you. Even that solo player running around minding his own business has the potential to catch you off guard and gun you down before you can react. And if you're there to farm, you're likely running a PvE build, so you probably won't stand a chance.
Hey mate, I just fucking wrecked you. You fucking suck, scrub. You're trash. You should uninstall the game and just go back to Fortnite, you fucking loser.
That's a fairly typical reenactment of a rogue encounter, but in the interest of keeping this a more positive place, for the remainder of this video we'll just tidy up the language a little bit, so you may need to read between the lines a little.
Hello there, good sir. I do believe I got you there. Must have been a lucky shot, I guess. I'll be on my merry way. No hard feelings.
It's cool if you want to team up with players and farm more effectively, but play it smart. Don't tell them if you manage to get something amazing, and just be prepared for them to potentially take anything you may get. It's not uncommon for players to invite others into their team just to boot them and kill them just before extracting, effectively making you a mule to carry more gear. A large part of successfully farming the Dark Zone is knowing the map, but this will take some time and repetition. Don't try and learn every area to start with, just focus on a couple of zones. For example, DZ 3 and 4 are a pretty good place to start. 1 and 2 are a little bit easier, but this is quite often where the rogue groups will roam. Being comfortable with your surroundings will help you both with anticipating what's happening in front of you and how to get away from potential threats. For example, if you were to come across this area, and the NPCs aren't here, it's safe to assume that another player or players are nearby. Same goes if you find chests that have already been looted. Because we're here for farming and not PvP, knowing where to run when needed is quite important. You want to make sure you're not running straight into a bunch of NPCs that will slow you down. Or, maybe if you're feeling up to it, you do want to run towards NPCs and then turn on the rogues while they're being fired at from all angles. And at this point, it's worth noting that in the Dark Zone you're gonna die. To start with, you're gonna die a lot. But this doesn't matter. You may lose some gear if you're carrying, but if not, you lose nothing. So use this. If you need to sacrifice yourself in order to successfully extract gear, do it. Or maybe you just feel like finding a faster way to the checkpoint.
I seem to have fallen a bit arse over tit. Good job, old chap. You certainly had me there. You are far more skilled than I. Definitely not hacking.
If you're heading into the Dark Zone to farm division tech, there's two ways you can go about this. Firstly, there's div tech chests. These are located all over the Dark Zone and look like this. Once opened, these go straight into your pouch, no need to extract. So if you get jumped and dropped, you lose nothing. But farming division tech this way is slow, you only get one piece per chest. A better method is to farm these chests while also collecting gold caches. These are everywhere. They drop often, but the best way to collect them is to open these chests, the ones that don't require a key. They'll award you with a gold cache that when opened will contain gear, but also between 2 and 5 division tech. However, these need to be extracted. Use extraction sites that you're comfortable with. You need to know all of the entry and exit points. When you first throw out the extraction, the entire map is aware of it, so you've effectively alerted anyone in the near vicinity of what you're up to. Once the extraction is started, immediately run to find some cover. NPCs will spawn, But don't shoot them, they play an important role for the solo player. If they aren't alerted to your presence, the NPCs will run out towards the extraction and just stand there, talking amongst themselves. So if anyone else comes up to check the extraction, the NPCs will be your early warning sign. If you're hiding away, the player will be busy dealing with them, assuming whoever has started it has run off, giving you a chance to run away.
Oh, bollocks! There's no one here but a bunch of NPCs! Oh well.
To help hide you further, I recommend that you always run Conceal a Pulse in the dark zone. If no one shows up to the extraction, leave it until there's about 30 seconds left on the departing timer before attaching your loot. And this brings me to another point. When extracting, particularly if you have something that you really want, make sure that you have a full bag. Because if you get killed with a full bag, a portion of it will drop as public and the rest as private. Public, anyone can pick up. Private, only you can see it. So the reason I recommend leaving the extraction until the last 30 seconds is because if you get killed, you'll lose some items. If you attach it to the rope and they cut the rope, you'll lose everything. If you're just wanting a change from the usual missions and incursions, the Dark Zone is a good place to farm. There's a huge concentration of named enemies, most with a locked chest close by. Both the bosses and chests have a chance at dropping classified gear. Plus, as an added bonus, if you clear the landmarks, which are the purple areas on the map, you'll be given extra credits, division tech and gear that you don't need to extract. You need to be cautious when farming landmarks, because when they're cleared, they'll appear grey on the map. So players looking for some PvP will often look out for this, and can often predict your next move based on the landmarks you've cleared so far. There are two types of events in the Dark Zone: contamination events and supply drops. Contamination events are based underground. Contamination's levels will rise and then lower to the point where you're able to enter. It starts with contamination levels rising, then contamination levels critical, and then a few minutes later, contamination levels lowering. This is when you can go in. You'll still be hurt over time, but it's more manageable. Make sure you have good healing and or sustainability. After killing a bunch of NPCs and named bosses, you'll be awarded with loot directly into your inventory, and other drops to collect. Supply drops are above ground, and are crates that are dropped in areas that are marked on the map. Much like extractions, when opening a supply drop chest, players nearby are alerted. But if you manage to open it, the drops go directly into your inventory, no extraction required. This is one of those situations where putting your body on the line is worth it, in order to open up that chest. I've lost count of the amount of times that I've been fighting off the NPCs surrounding the supply drop, just to have a single player run in and quickly secure the drop right in front of me.
Oh, supply drop for me? Well, you just keep fighting those NPCs and I'll just nip off with this lot. Pip pip.
These are just a few tips on top of what I've mentioned so far. When running down the street, stick to the sides, don't just run wildly down the middle. Even if you aren't being chased, break line of sight, keep obstacles in front and behind you. Keep an eye on the kill feed. If you take nothing else away, this is one of the most important tips. The feed will not only tell you that stuff is going down, but also how far away they are. I actually prefer a server where I can see rogues running around, because I know exactly where to farm and where to extract, on the opposite end of the map. If you're finding that you're having no luck, change servers. To do this, take note of what's happening on the map, what extractions are going off, what landmarks are cleared, and then matchmake into an incursion or mission. Once joined, leave the group. If the DZ map is different, you've changed servers. Turn on your VoIP. I was dead against this due to the saltiness and ridiculous abuse being thrown out there by every 10 to 13 year old with a mic, but with it turned on, you can often hear these players coming from blocks away, particularly on console. If you're having trouble getting extractions completed due to players constantly showing up, throw out some fake ones. There's a couple of ways you can do this. Pop an extraction and run away to another extraction point. Or, pop an extraction, wait, let the players come and go, and then throw up another one. Most will get sick of this eventually and stop paying attention to them. Last but not least, if you're in a situation where players show up while you're clearing a landmark or supply drop, or even if you join in and help others take NPCs down, if you're worried about getting jumped, leave the gear on the ground and don't pick it up. It'll last for quite a long time, so just leave it there and move on. You can always come back later and get it. The Dark Zone is an ugly place for a lot of players, and this isn't without reason, but it needs to be seen as a high risk, high reward area. If you're being ganked by players over and over, move to the opposite end of the DZ. If they follow you, change servers. Even with the rogue risk, the Dark Zone is large enough to take advantage of the higher gear drop rate and div tech looting. You just need to play it smart. For me, the Dark Zone is both the most intriguing and toxic part of the Division. It's like a great big social experiment, yet I can't get enough. Before I end this video, I'm going to ask two things of you, the viewer. Firstly, if you've made it this far, let me know in the comments by saying Purple Monkey Dishwasher. I don't know why, it was the first thing that came to mind. And secondly, please thank my mate Metallicane for his help, the one that's been reenacting the rogue portion of this video. He's the poor bastard that I call upon when I want to test a new build. Hey Kane, come over here so I can shoot you in the face.
Oh, okay.
Metallicane has recently started up his own YouTube, so if you guys can do me a solid and show your support by checking out his channel, that'd be awesome. Let him know I sent you. It should be on the screen, but I'll place his link in the description below. Otherwise, hopefully you've learned a thing or two here, and if you see me in the Dark Zone, don't be afraid to shoot me in the face. But I'll be expecting it. Cheers!
You milk-drinking, sucking piece of whale. The best part of you on your mama's leg, you filthy face slicker. Go back to the trailer park, you retarded nugget. Hope your falls off and you die of syphilis, avocado-eating bag-nosed umbrella dirt monster.